Hello everyone, this is Miss Chelsea and today we will be learning to compare and order real numbers. Our lesson objective for today is that students will be able to compare and order real numbers both visually and algebraically. First things first, let's review how to compare rational numbers. Remember the number line. Numbers to the right are greater. So if we want to look at 4 and 1, we will see that 4 is to the right on the number line, so it is greater. Now let's look at example number 2, -4 and -1. Now -4 is to the left on the number line, so it's going to be less than -1. Now negatives like -7 are on the left and positives like +6 are on the right. Therefore, -7 is less than 6. Now we've reviewed how to compare integers, but what about fractions and decimals? Remember, to compare rational numbers, both numbers need to be in the same form, preferably decimals. You can compare the digits by place value. So, for example, if you compare 1/4 and 0.2, you would need to convert the fraction 1/4 to a decimal, or 0.25. Since both numbers have a 0 in the ones place and a 2 in the tens place, you would need to add a 0 to the end of the 0.2 and compare the hundredths place. 5 is greater than 0, so 0.25 is greater than 0.20, and 1/4 is greater than 0.2. So now let's look at today's lesson. How do we compare irrational numbers? To do so, we will look at this example, square root of 80 and 3 pi. Our first step is to write each number as its decimal expansion, just like we did with rational numbers. We only really need to go to the tenths or hundredths place. I know that 81 is a perfect square. It's 9 times 9. So square root of 80 should be super close to 9. Let's just say 8.9 for now. Then to get 3 pi, we're going to multiply the 3.14 by 3 to get 9.42. That means that what we are really comparing is 8.9 and 9.42. Let's go ahead and compare the decimal expansions of the two irrational numbers, just like we would decimals when we were comparing rational numbers. Just by comparing the ones place, we can see that 9.42 is bigger. So that means that square root of 80 is less than 3 pi. Finally, let's look at ordering real numbers. We are going to put the following in order from least to greatest. Square root of 28, 23/4, and 5.555 continuing. Just like before, we're going to start by running each term as its decimal expansion. Now square root of 28 will be closer to square root of 5 than square root of 6. It's about 5.3. However, you can use a calculator to guess and check and figure out that it's about 5.29. Then we're going to divide 23 by 4 to get 5.75. Meanwhile, the repeating decimal is already written as its decimal expansion. That means that it can be compared directly. So now let's do step 2 and place the decimal expansions on the number line. The first one's going to go around 5.3. The second one is going to go about halfway between 5.7 and 5.8. And the final one is going to go about halfway between 5.5 and 5.6, maybe a little closer to 5.6. Now we can go ahead and write the numbers in order according to what the question wants. Remember, left is least on the number line and right is greatest. That means that the first number is square root of 28, followed by 5.555 continuing, and then 23/4. Just a word of caution for you, always double check the sign to make sure it's not negative. Anyhow, that's all for today, folks.